Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're making a video that I've meant to put out for a really long time, and that is how to collect ancient coins. Now, there's probably going to be a few different parts of this video that I end up making, but today we're going to be focusing on types of ancient coin collections, because a lot of people wonder, how do I start and what is a good objective? Because one of my main general tips for people who are trying to start a collection, really of any type, is to have a clearly defined framework for how you're going to do that. Now, within ancients, I would say that, like US, you want to learn before you start collecting, but there's two frameworks. A, it's really fun to at least own something or a very few coins, and you can definitely pick up if you're willing to spend 10 or 15 or maybe for a few 30, 40 bucks of ancient or medieval. And again, this is going to be ancient. It could apply to some types of sort of medieval, late antiquity, and there's a lot of interesting Islamic dynasties, but sort of pre-Renaissance, I would say, is the focus for today's video. But on the other hand, there's a lot of issues with even, buying fake coins, and that's something that I'm even have to keep a close eye out for, and I should probably make a whole separate video, but you really want to do a lot of research before you buy extensively. Now, here are a few of the frameworks that I would say make for really fun collecting. Some of them are going to be more obvious to certain people than others or make more sense. There are some ways that closely mirror the way people collect US coins that I probably would recommend not to do, but you could. So I'm really excited to dive in, and let's get into this video. So the first thing to know, again, I'm going to assume that you have some base level, but I'll try to also include a lot of examples so that you can see what I'm talking about. But a lot of people will collect different civilizations by rulers. So the Roman Empire is probably the best place to start and do a simple collection, though a lot of people would talk, and we'll talk more about collecting Byzantine coins, which is like the Eastern Roman Empire. Different people have different opinions on when that starts. I'm calling that like 450 to 1450 AD, but the Roman Empire starts in just before Christ's birth, so just right around the year 0, and I would say also continues up to about 400, 450, depends where in the Roman Empire we're talking. But there are a lot of different rulers in there, and it is a very, very ambitious task to go after collecting all of the rulers, but you can do a few runs, you can collect around a few themes, or you can focus on some of the more common types, and then slowly work your way up into taking on a few of the usurpers, because there was a lot of different power struggles, and some emperors would be in for only a matter of months before they were executed or removed from being the Roman emperor. But somebody like Constantine the Great or Theodosius, those are going to be some emperors that are relatively abundant. You could also, somebody who's a little bit tougher, but not unattainable by any means, is like Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher who reigned, I want to say 161 to 180, or I personally sell a lot of coins of the famed Emperor Nero, who was from like 54 to 68, and those Nero coins are often somewhere in the $50 or $60 range. You can really get some incredible, totally authentic, genuine items, and when you have that ruler collecting framework, there's a ton of emperors that are going to cost thousands to get. You feel like you have sort of a way and a sort of a roadmap that you can complete, because I think a different way to collect ancients is to look more generally at the civilization level, and there's lots of different ways to define this, but for example, and my ancient history really could get a bit better, but when we think about Alexander the Great, the Macedonian, it's like the Greek Macedonians, he conquers the Achaemenid Empire in Persia, and again, my pronunciations may be a bit off, but around like 323 or so, 320s BC, and you could collect one coin from the Greek Macedonians, and then you could also pair that with like an Achaemenid Empire, Persian, I'm thinking of like a Siglos coin, which is sort of a small silver coin from the 4th century or 5th century BC. There's a lot of different, it wasn't like Greece was a country entity, but there are a lot of Pontus Amissos is in today's Turkey. They minted a lot of their coins. So there were a lot of like city-states or civilizations, the Lydians or the Lycians, there's minted in Aspendus, there's some really nice items. Or there's the Seleucid Empire and things that came out of the Macedonians as their power waned after Alexander the Great. There's also a lot of civilizations that we don't immediately think of, like the Persians would have a long continuity where we saw the Persians come in that empire. After that, the Parthians arrive. Then we have the Sasanians, and then some of the Islamic dynasties come in, and there are so many different interesting Islamic civilizations and different dynasties or imamates or religious rules there. There's different usurpers within the Byzantine Empire, so you could just say, I'm going to get a Byzantine coin, but there's also different dynasties within Byzantine and different periods. The Latin rulers of Constantinople from 1204 to 1261, you could get a small cup-shaped trachea from them. Those sometimes go for as cheap as $10. Like, there are so many different ways to do this issuing entity set that can be really fun. You can also expand that to a lot of the Indian coins or the Central Asian coins. I'm thinking of like Bactria or Scythia, or some of the Mauryan Empire, or the Guptas, or there's lots of different ways that you can go on a civilization by civilization basis, and you can do that cheaply. You can say, I'm going to get a coin that's worth $500 from each one of these. So that's a really nice way to honor a lot of that history. A different way to focus in is, say you have a ruler that you're really interested in. I'm thinking of Constantine the Great, who sort of reunites the entire Roman Empire and is the sole ruler from approximately 324 to 337. You could get a lot of the bronze coins that he made and then look at the different mints. So maybe some were minted in Sicily, which is modern-day Croatia. Others are in Alexandria, which is modern-day Egypt. Others were in Constantinople, which is today is Istanbul in Turkey, but was sort of Greek area, and he moves it from Rome to Constantinople, I believe. You could have some that are minted in Rome, or even in like Lugdunum, which I want to say that's in France, or there's a London mint. There are so many different mint marks. I think it's a little less, there can be things that are really rare or unheard of in the ancient world, where if there's a coin that's US and there's only 10 minted, or 10 surviving examples, those are going to be super, super valuable. Whereas in the ancient world, for whatever reason, there's not really people who collect as much, like, I'm going to do a date and mint mark set like US collectors might do. So it's maybe a more challenging and less common thing to do, but you could try the mint mark for a specific ruler. Or if you really like a ruler, you could try to look at different denominations. Like, there could be a denarius coin, which is the silver coin. There could be an aureus or some other sort of a gold coin. And then there could be a sestertius or an ass coin, or a smaller fractional copper coin or bronze coin of a specific ruler. Maybe this is a little bit more a bit easier with the Byzantine coins. They sort of use a base 40 nummus is one phallus, so a phallus coin, but then they would have a half phallus, which is 20 nummus, and then they would also have a deca, which is the prefix 10 nummium, or decanummus, which is 10, and then penta is 5, so they would have 5, 10, 20, and 40 nummus coins. So you could try to get all of the types, say for Justinian or Maurice Tiberius, whatever. There's ways to collect from that perspective where you're getting multiple different types of coins, whether you limit it to the bronzes of a certain emperor or you expand to every type of denomination. That's something that you can do. It's very unlikely to have regnal year collections. That they didn't really put years. I'm sure that there are some ones with the years in numbers on them, but when I think about the way Rome very infrequently does it, there are, in some cases, I can think of, there are definitely ones that have years on them, like the low percentage silver tetradrachms from Alexandria, Egypt. They often will include a regnal year for Nero. I spoke about those a little bit. Or, different emperors would have regnal years on there. But there would also be, for the Byzantines, that was a bit more common. The Byzantine emperors would say, this coin was minted in the year 12 of this emperor, and then we can now do the research to figure out when the emperor reigned, and then we can date it to a specific year. That's closely mirroring the US collecting style, and Byzantines often mint in Constantinople. Theopolis, or I think that's Antioch, I forget, maybe Kyzikos. Those are some of the mints that I can remember that the Byzantines used. So if you really wanted to be specific, you could do a year and mint mark and ruler set, but that's not really how I would focus on it. But it's just something that you could try out. A few other thoughts. So ancient graded coins are definitely interesting. Fakes are a big problem with ancients. I offer a basically lifetime guarantee on any of my coins. If I say something is questionable authenticity and I sell it, it's going to sell for a lot less. And so if it's fake, that's a coin that I'm telling people maybe, if there's any doubts about something, I'm not going to sell it. But one of the sort of rules about ancient coin dealing is that I only know of one confirmed fake that I've sold, and I dealt very honorably, I believe, in that situation. It was actually the very first denarius, which is the basic silver coin that I bought, ended up being a fake. And the point is, even the grading companies, they're not going to grade anything that they think is fake. They'll send it back, but they don't offer, like NGC doesn't offer the same guarantee that they do if they slab a fake coin and it's a real slab and you buy that coin, they're going to be on the hook and liable for that. That's not the case with how the grading companies look at it, but it can offer some confidence and, make something easier to look at and realize what it is and have a brief or general understanding of what it really is. So some people do prefer the graded option, so that's just another thing you can weigh, graded and ungraded. I think it makes sense if people are really nervous about ancient coins and struggling for a good place to go. That can be something smart to think about. You can also sort of just go for one-off coins. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's so many new civilizations, and say you want to get 10 coins and 4 of them are from the same ruler, but they just look really pretty, and then you want to try a coin from Central Asia, and then you end up picking up a piece of proto money from Europe, which is like before coins they would sometimes make, like I can think of the Olbian dolphin money or the Ace Rude from Italy, or there's lots of different proto money, some of the Luristan sort of lead pieces from India. There's so many ways to do this, and I hope that sort of comes through in this video, but you can sort of get as crazy as you'd like. I think I can't finish this video without mentioning that you can look for really interesting errors. A very common practice is to strike coin, like do overstrikes. So if we have a quarter and it's struck on a Canadian quarter, there's I think I did a whole video on it a while ago. That's many thousands of dollars coin for something that otherwise is worth maybe a few bucks. It's super common in ancient and medieval coins to use other items for host planchets and just strike, they're looking for planchets, just strike using the current dies on an already existing coin. But that does mean that there can be some really interesting ones. So some of the examples that I can think of is like a coin that's minted in the Roman provinces, which isn't the imperial mint, but if it's minted in the provinces and they strike something like that on a coin that was made at the imperial mint. Or there could be some Greek types that are just struck twice. That's a super common issue, or struck very off-center. If you're looking for US coins that have dramatic errors, it's going to run you a ton. But I bought some really interesting Brockage Islamic coins from the sort of 1300s that I paid maybe $15 a piece for, and they were, a Brockage on a US coin is a super expensive item, and there it was pretty affordable. So I think I couldn't, with my focus on errors not infrequently being shown on this channel, I couldn't go without mentioning those. And so, anyways, really enjoyed discussing this overview. Hope that it provided for some interesting perspective within the ancient collecting and a little bit of guidance on how you could think about doing those. I probably got a few things wrong. I'm still growing as a collector and a dealer in these ancient items, and I try to be super transparent about different ways that I'm thinking about the whole collecting and selling hobby, and to some extent business. I do some business videos too from time to time, but so enjoyed thinking this through with you. I think it ended up being a bit longer than I had anticipated, but hopefully that means there's a few extra nuggets of info that can be helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos. Going to try to make a few more pieces of ancient and medieval focused content, especially educational. it's just really challenging for me to compile everything, and because I feel like I know a fair amount, but it's not something I've been doing for more than a few years. I still have a little bit of a knowledge gap there. So thank you so much for watching. Maybe I'll actually try to get in touch with Spencer, who's the current director of Ancients at Treasure Town, and some other people to help assist in this. But I also want to make sure it's packaged in a fun, like, keeps your attention. I don't want it to feel like a textbook lecture. So I'll try to do that in coming months and years, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to visit our website, treasuretown.com, to stay up to date on everything going on the channel and possibly get some great deals on coins and collectibles. We look forward to seeing you on our future videos, and best wishes until then.